we have reached our pollution equilibrium, where we are outputting pollution at the same rate as the terrain is sustainably absorbing it. I say we are good to go ahead on our final dash of destruction, to finally start actively pursuing our goals and dreams of world peace. Well. Fair warning, this episode ain't for the faint of heart. If you think biters are cute and adorable, this ain't the episode for you, my friend. Because with pollution minimized and our green base running at full speed, we can start preparing for the grand master plan with a biblical barbecue which will smite biter and bot alike. But first, we call all dormant bots back from the walls. The logistics bots by enforcing a giant wood transfer. And the construction bots by our pipe recaller 3000. Unfortunately, the 100 oil stored in each and every flamethrower cannot be reclaimed. But for the rest, we have pumped nearly all oil out of our old inner wall, so we can disconnect the pumps. Then the time has finally come to start expanding our tileable nuclear reactor. But why? Weren't we done with base building stuff? Why, yes we are. Who said we need this power for base building? Anyway, let's stamp down the blueprint and... Wait, why can't we place the second one? Oh. Well, not having to deal with manually connecting pumps and pipes is exactly the reason we built this reactor on the water. Actually, I think we want to disconnect the new extension from the existing power plant. Since all the new reactors and heat pipes will be installed at room temperature, we risk giving the running reactor a huge cold shock, as all the heat will spread to the new reactor, possibly causing a blackout if the running reactor's temperature drops below 500 degrees. And indeed, even after letting the new reactor preheat itself to 500 degrees before connecting it to the existing power plant, we still get a near instant 250 degree temperature drop. That may have been a good call. Strangely enough, I fear that doubling the reactor still may not give us enough power. What the heck are we going to need so much power for then? This isn't space exploration after all. Anyway, so after just doubling up from 20 to 40 reactors, we prepare more land in order to be able to double up yet again to 80 reactors. We fully filled a large area with landfill again, so you know what that means. It is time to start producing atomic bombs. Anyway, doubling the reactor also means we will produce twice as much spent fuel cells, so we need to increase nuclear fuel reprocessing too. The new centrifuges are out of reach of the beacons though, so in order to comply with the -80% pollution rule, they get outfitted with Mark II efficiency modules. There, that should do the trick. Meanwhile, our uranium reserves are looking respectable again, and while the mine is slowly dwindling, I think we can stretch this single uranium source until the end of the playthrough. Okay dude, what are you doing? Your base was running fine on 20 reactors, but you doubled up to 40 anyway with your mysterious power-hungry project. Then you prepared space for 80 reactors and now we're up to space for 120? You better tell us what the heck is going on. Alright, let's check out our power draw then, huh? See man, it's all beacons and... Wow, you have over 1000 radars up in your base, man. But still, that's only 300 megawatts or like 2 reactors worth of power. I still don't get it. Wait, why do we have 3 full chests of radars? Well, now we are going to have to work outside of our walls, behind the for us uncrossable hazard concrete border. It would kind of suck if we didn't get to see much of the action due to the fog of war, right? So, to remedy that, I've decided we may need to place a few extra radars. And by a few, I mean I crammed as much radars in our wall design as I could fit, which turns out to be 36 radars. But dude, wouldn't it be smarter to stretch out those radars a bit, instead of dropping a few chunks like that here and there? Well my man, there is nothing to stretch out. We are going to upgrade every single wall chunk with 36 radars each. And we have a lot of wall. That's another 2000 radars on the north wall alone. Now, carefully look at the radar scan rate in the northern chunks as the bots start adding all the radars. Yeah boys, Big Brother is gonna be watching you! But yeah, that is a stupid amount of radars indeed. Now we just need to add 3 times that amount for the other 3 walls. And as the bots place the radars on the other 3 walls, watch the radar scan rate go wild all over the map now. Man oh man, after seeing this result, only one thought comes to mind. It's not enough. Come on bots, let's hurry up with that nuclear power plant production. While we wait for that, there's a 2 chunk wide area between my old and my new wall, which is outside the always visible reach of my radars. So let's work on permanently lighting up those chunks with a new self-expanding band of radars and roboports around my base. That will make sure the radars at the front wall won't have to work scanning those chunks in the back anymore. And it's done! The whole area within our new walls is now nicely lit up. And the massive radar blocks on the walls can now spend their full power on scanning the distant, biter-ridden chunks. The recently expanded nuclear reactor is already running at max capacity again, as now we have 10,000 radars scanning the fields of biters, and radars have even overtaken beacons as the #1 power consumer. Still, there's only one thought. It's not enough. So we are going to need more power still. No wait, don't build it yet. The landfill hasn't been properly prepared yet. Oh well, I guess he'll find out soon. So indeed, we gotta go and enrich the landfill for the nuclear reactor with some nice nuclear explosions. That will cause the landfill to green up in multiple ways, most importantly causing it to start absorbing some pollution. First, let's deconstruct this roboport to separate the networks so that there are no construction bots in the local nuclear power network. Yeah, now he finds out. You can put the nuclear reactor on the explosion scorch mark, but you cannot put the scorch mark under a running nuclear reactor. Well, you can try, but the explosion will be a little larger than anticipated. Nuclear reactors explode like atomic bombs when destroyed, causing a chain reaction which takes out the whole power plant. So, let's not do that. First, we deconstruct the power and roboport skeleton which the bots needed to place all the landfill. Then we tell the bots to start dismantling running parts of a superheated active nuclear reactor. Well, that's probably not in accordance with the safety regulations. Well, nothing exploded yet, so let's get rid of those turbines too then. And we're back to our old power level. Meanwhile, I can nicely illustrate why we're executing this strange ritual. Before we had a green base, the nuclear reactor was covered in pollution. But now with the green base, the pollution cloud has shrunk and the skies above the nuclear reactor are pollution free again. All thanks to our nuke the landfill ritual. Without that procedure, an eternal and immovable cloud of pollution, dude, so you keep going on and on and on about that, so there must be some great benefit for the base for doing all that work, right? Right? Well, yeah, of course. It looks nicer on the map. My dear guy, you have been putting us through this nuking procedure spread out over several episodes, all for it looks nicer on the map? Well, at least try to make it look spectacular then. Whoa man, okay, maybe not that spectacular. Okay, so let's take personal safety a bit more serious then. Good job, good job. On a side note, if you can spot the serious mistake I'm making right now, you're a lot smarter than me. Okay, blowing up this chunk is probably still safe. No, it wasn't. And not by a long shot too, mate. Okay, that chunk definitely is not safe to nuke then, mate. After your previous underestimation, you should now realize that the hot nuclear reactor is too close, mate. No, don't do it. Mate, relax. There's not even a scratch on the reactor. Well, the rest of the process goes without further incidents. Even I am not thick-headed enough to make the same mistake twice. And soon we are rebuilding the last part of the power plant. Well, except for the 185 elements we blew up, of course, they are still missing. So we are done. Let's reconnect the roboport network so the base bots can rebuild the full nuclear plant then. All in all, I would say this was a very successful mission. Our Spidertron suffered but a scratch, and we were a safe margin of several centimeters away from blowing up our whole nuclear reactor. Well, no pain, no gain, even though the gain is purely cosmetic. We decide to go big or go home, and since I'm stuck on this planet, I ain't going home. So we add a fourth block to the reactor, which essentially doubles our doubled power output. So then, with all that available power, what are we going to build next? Well, the logical thing to do is to deconstruct all of our 10,000 raiders? What? Okay, I give up. Where's the logic in that then? Yeah, I don't know who's writing the script. Oh, now he's typing to us. Okay, I see. So, by using the single keystroke of Ctrl Z, we are basically giving the order to place back 10,000 raiders at the same time, which leads to the raiders being built everywhere at the same time, instead of placing them in blocks. This is important to us, as we are not using the raiders to scan new terrain. Our goal for the raiders is to fully and permanently reveal all the chunks they normally slowly scan one by one. And since they only grant vision on a faraway chunk for a few seconds of every half-minute scan interval, it is important that the raiders are not placed in bulk sections, but more organically sprinkled around like snowflakes everywhere at the same time. But we didn't have enough raiders to permanently reveal all terrain just yet, so while all the bots are still flooded in work, we redesigned the raider wall blueprint to add a few more raiders to the front. And I've added another 2 rows of raiders to the blueprint off cam, basically doubling our previous raider count. And that eventually leads to
Attention biters of Novice. You now live in a surveillance state. All your privacy belongs to us. Attention biters of Novice. You now live in a surveillance state. All your privacy belongs to us.
Yes indeed. We now have uninterrupted full satellite view on the entire planet of Novice. But man, was that really necessary? Well, yes my man, we are making a video series, aren't we? We are going to be spending most of the finale looking far beyond our borders, in the area normally obscured by the fog of war. Wouldn't it be nice to be able to actually see what we will be doing out there? Well, with 20,000 raiders pulling 6 gigawatts of power, now we can. You know, normal people would just install a mod for that. Okay, so vision mission complete. We can have a normal player amount of stashed raiders again then, yes? Now we just need a small test project to try out our new satellite raider view. And if you remember, our new outer wall is now placed almost directly against the biters. Then you will understand why I'm standing at my 4 artillery trains. We have over 100,000 artillery shells ready to deal with all of this. So far we have destroyed 88,000 biter bases and worms. Will we have enough? Only one way to find out. So we send over the trains and watch the show. Well, if the biters won't kill my base, they will fry my computer. My UPS is not liking this at all. All 4 trains have spent their 2000 shells, so we must send them home on our unsignaled rail track yet again, without getting distracted by pretty biter barbecues too much, or the artillery trains will crash into each other. I said don't get distracted now, didn't I? And despite distractions, yet again the trains return home sequentially. But this time we will immediately send them out again, so they can continue right where they left off. There, that's looking like 4 pretty perfect circles to me. Small, minor problem though. We have ran out of repair packs it seems, so our bots can't repair at the front anymore. So, are the biters breaking through our walls already? Well, it seems not really. We also have some extra backup walls now in the form of raiders, so that should keep them busy for a while if they manage to break through. By the way, if we look at the sprites count, we can see that just on this little wall section alone, there now lay over 10,000 dead biters. Extrapolating that to our entire wall, our own losses of 2.2k bots, 1.4k walls and a few stacks of raiders seem pretty insignificant in comparison. And just how much oil did this giant massacre cost us? Well, it looks like just 10k oil per minute for about 10 minutes or so. So about 100k oil in total. Given that we had over 500,000 of flamethrower oil in stock, I'd say we have enough to go ahead and further clear the map of biters. And we only spent 10k artillery shells to clear the 4 corners. That's amazingly efficient, given that we've taken out another 27,000 biter bases and worms. That's almost 3 kills per artillery shell. That unexpected artillery shell efficiency may mean that we have slightly overproduced artillery shells for the last 50 hours or so. Now there is still plenty of biters on the map and indeed we may be taking out around 100k nests and worms today, but with the unexpected high average of kills per artillery shell, there's no way we are going to need the full 100k shells. So finally, let's shut down these assemblers then. After all that work, these assemblers may rest now. who may not rest though are the artillery trains. They still have plenty of work to do. After they arrived back in their respective corners, we just manually send them ahead a bit further down the streets. And... man oh man, the artillery trains are just erasing the biters line by line, like one of those old dot matrix printers. And not before long, our kill count passes 50,000 biter bases and 500,000 biters simultaneously. Beautiful. While the biters don't seem to be able to breach the full quad wall, I do see a little bit of smoke starting to emerge from my computer. They may still defeat me one way or another, because I've also ran out of repair packs yet again. A serene calm has returned to our base, and our repair pack deficit is slowly catching up again. Well, let's clear the last section in a slightly less computer smoking way then. We have started to mass produce concrete for land-based artillery turrets. Our 4 trains cannot be everywhere at the same time anyway, so we will need them to keep enemy expansions in check. For now. One of those turrets fits exactly between each chunk of raiders, so we can just drag the blueprint down the entire wall. Yeah, it's a long wall. Still only 67 turrets on this wall, so it looks like we'll only need 250 of them or so. And after blueprinting down the other 3 walls... oh! We are starting to melt the remaining biters away with logistic bot supplied artillery turrets. By the way, did you notice just how nicely Artillery Range 3 almost perfectly aligns with the edge of our current world? Finally, the artillery barrage has come to a rest. Any additional shells we want to deploy will have to be individually and manually targeted with the artillery remote control. And at the end of all this onslaught, we have ended up with an artillery Easter egg. And the only survivors in miles around is Johnny's redemption. Here's our losses. And despite killing over 24,000 pollution factor pushing enemy spawners in this massive attack alone, the evolution factor increased by 0.3%. In the early game, you need to take out just a single biter nest to achieve that same evolution increase. I am hoping that now you are looking at all the shiny arrows so that you don't see I overproduced 95,000 artillery shells. Anyway, that concludes our preparations for our grand finale to this series. We have placed the entire world under constant satellite surveillance, and we have cracked down on the biter protests with an artillery barrage of a never seen before magnitude. In revenge, the biters killed my UPS and probably nearly my computer. It will have to hold out just a little longer, so we can enjoy the grand finale to this ultimate DeathWorld challenge. Next time!